And we are live, but I ain't unmuted that one, so that will probably make everybody else be able to hear it as well. That's even better, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Three Men and a Vape Show. We have got our special guest on, who's actually a little bit grainy and a bit Max-fed, drew me tonight, but it doesn't matter, we can hear him, can't we, Mark?
Yeah, hopefully you can hear me.
We can hear him, that's the main thing. As long as we can hear him, it just looks like he's off of a Crime Watch episode. Thank you very much for everybody for joining us. Like I said, we've got a special guest again, Mark from Nature Vapes. He has been on quite a number of times, but he wasn't on with Simon. And Simon's back. Brother, all the way from the theatre, how are you doing?
I feel like I'm a special guest tonight. It's been that long. It feels like ages. So, yeah, I was at the... Salford. So it's fun to know. So week at the theatre, poorly dogs, lots of work, and no time. So, yes, it's good to be back.
Yeah, the dogs haven't been very well at all, have they?
The dogs have not been very well at all, one in particular. So it's been a stressful couple of weeks, but I'm not going to moan, since I moaned on the last two shows that I've been on, I think, so.
No, well, I think you've missed a few, but we've missed a few, haven't we? We illness out, haven't been very well, and I know Salford haven't been very well. How you been keeping this week, Salford?
Shit as normal.
Shit as normal?
Mm.
God, fucking happy day.
Absolutely crap.
Chat from the crap. Well, it's always that.
Right, we'll go again, Joey.
It's always nice to start off with a little bit of hope.
Well, we look like four happy chappies before the start, didn't we?
Do you need a cuddle, Salford? Is that all you need?
Not from you, mate.
Ciao.
Why, you want like a little bit of a Mr. Coily cuddle?
No.
Oh, you're fucking spoiling it. That's my dream out of it.
It hurt my neck looking up.
Oh, he's huge. He's a big bloke.
Hey, I have lost, since I came back off holiday in Lanzarote, how long was it now, 3 months ago? I've lost 1.5 stone.
God, that were a big crap.
Gone. Yeah.
Well, let's have a little look who is in the chat. People, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, and also don't forget to get yourself onto live chat. We have got TVP, nice to see you, brother. Thank you very much for not going live. It's always nice when people respect the bits. Some people don't, but you did. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Salford, the Bobster, nice to see you, brother. We're going to have to get you on the show. We've got Orion's Braces. Alan, big love to you, brother. Love you loads. We've got Shane Gibson, Vaping Bunny, big love. We have got Bill Richards, always nice to see you, brother. We have got Shane Foster. Ian Morgan, nice to see you. Who else have we got in this wonderful chat? The Devil Vapor, big love to you, bro. LC90, Sainty I love saying that name. Sainty, fuck off. I don't think there's a better name out there on there, do you? Who else we got? We've got Mr. Coily, always nice to see you and all, brother. I missed somebody there. Grumpy Lumpy, that's another good one. Curly Chew. Somebody were talking then as I was going down. Matthew Watson. And that's about chat. So we've got quite a number in there. Thank you very much for joining us again. We'll do like we normally do. We'll just go and do a little tiny buffet. We don't have to do 40 mods. And we'll go straight over to Salford. Dog shit sniffer, yeah.
Just have a quick sleep.
Just me a Dutch with me slide tank. And I've got the Aquamaster on there on the test still from Mark. And a couple of pod systems, that's about it.
Is that the new slide?
There's only one slide. You're thinking of the Zenith.
Zenith, that's what I'm thinking of, yeah. Because they've just released it, haven't they, in that, were it the LA Expo?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, they have.
Salford, that was less than a minute. What's going on? Looking Twilight Zone since I came back.
I could say, well, I've got this on charge that I've already done the review for, and I've got that on charge, and I've got them behind me, and I've got all that lot around there.
It's the U-Sonic, isn't it?
The U-Sonisig Rhythm.
Yeah, is it the first version or
the B3?
I didn't know it was B2 or 3.
Yeah, the version 2 and 3.
B3. It works, you know. Just after it's a bit of a learning curve though. Got to keep letting it go until you get vapor.
It's a very cold vape as well, isn't it?
Yep, very cold. And the thing with it is, it's all right now and then, if you know what I mean. It's not something you want to rump about with or that, you know. But I like the idea of the technology. if they could make the technology a little bit better and make the ramp-up time a lot better, I think they're onto something myself.
Well, it's been out it's been out probably 2 years, hasn't it?
That's been out a year, that one. I think the original one came out about 2 years ago, didn't it?
I remember a bloke got in touch with me about when they were actually going to send me one out for review, which I never did eventually, but we did meet them at Expo. They were nice people. But they've just come out with a pod system as well, haven't they, the Usonic? That were out in May.
Yeah.
And apparently that's good.
Right. Well, that was a bargain bin one, because I've been searching the bargain bins, getting a few cheaper items, old stuff. It's been out a year ago, but works really well. So it was only 17 quid, 18 quid. So I didn't fancy it when it came out, so I thought I'd get it, have a play about with it, and then just put it out as a bargain bin.
That's cheap as chips, that, isn't it?
Yeah, you can't complain at that, can you?
Well, Simon, sorry, Mark.
I say can complain if it doesn't work.
Well, you can't do it if it
works. It works. It's just a learning curve because it hasn't got a coil, and it's a ceramic plate with using ultrasound to cause friction to do it. The ramp up time's a hell of a lot longer, but it's a very much cooler vape. But the particles are a hell of a lot smaller as well than in normal vapor. So when you do start chaining it, you get a very creamy type, thick vapor from it. The flavour from it for being a low temperature is absolutely amazing, don't get me wrong. But if the technology was a little bit more advanced, as it does get every 6 months, they could be coming out with some real good stuff that ain't using coils.
Yeah. I know quite a number of reviewers have not liked it, the version 1 and version 2. It being such a cool vape. I don't mind a cool vape myself.
No.
Yeah, I don't like it. It has to be hot.
Yeah, it's just that learning curve. I don't. Some of you guys will remember back in the old days where we used to press a button and let it heat up for a little bit before we took a vape, and then we'd carry on vaping and let go of the button. So they kind of say it's that sort of vape you have to do with it. That's
a bit like a purge.
You need that ramp up. What's that?
It's called purging it, isn't it? When you blow it out.
Well, you blow it out. Yeah, you can purge it, and then when you start seeing the vapor, you can go for it then. It's all right. It's nothing to shout home about, but I just like the idea of the technology and that technology getting better.
I don't know if anybody in chat's actually had their pod system. I've not had it, so I don't know what it's like, but apparently it's pretty good.
I only seen it the other day when I went on their site. I've not seen a review for it or anything, so...
Yeah, there's been a few reviews out for it. Well, thank you very much, Alfred. We'll pass it over to Sick Note, over to the wonderful Mr. Coyley. We have missed you, brother. It's been, what, about 3-4 weeks since we've last seen you?
Yeah, 3 weeks, I think. So
I know, like you said, you've had some... It's horrible. Your dogs, as you know as well, Salford and Mark and everybody in chat, are dogs that just like a part of your family, so when they're poorly, it's just as bad.
You know, she started off, I'm sure people don't want to know the life history of our dogs, but she started off with an infection, and she had to go and be having an emergency spay, and she had that done, and then the week after she was really poorly, being sick and passing blood and God knows what else. And then
you're not having your tea, people.
Then the other one started with an ear infection this week, so it's been a bonkers week. Worrying week, poor little suds.
Yeah, it's horrible. Like I said, it is a part of your family, and as soon as they get poorly, I took the dog out about 7:30 last night. I'd gone out and had a couple of beers in afternoon for the game of snooker, and took the dog out, and he went normal place, but these bushes with sticky buds. So they must have like it's been a while since I've gone that way. So it must be coming to the end, and all these sticky buds, he would just absolutely covered him. So when I got back home, Louise had to bath him. Cut him, it were a nightmare. So, what are you vaping on, Salford?
Salford?
What are you vaping on, Mr. Coyley? Sorry.
He didn't say you know what? He didn't say anything about playing with old Twanky as well for last week.
No, I was doing sound last week. So Pickering, I was doing this last year. They have a war weekend every year. So the whole town, Pickering, just gets done up in like World War II, so all the shops have all the stuff on the windows, and all these just thousands and thousands of people come dressed in old World War II uniforms, police, RAF, army, everything else. They've got all the old cars, the lorries, tanks, everything else going through the town. But the theatre there has a war show, just like World War II music. And
Pack up your troubles in your old kit bag.
that's the one. And so they do that over 5 nights. So I was there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then somebody else did Saturday, Sunday. So, but it's really good. It's a good atmosphere. Really enjoy it. But I only do the sound. I'm not on stage. Not good enough to be on stage.
Don't they do that in Alworth as well? They do a war weekend in Alworth, don't they, as well?
Somebody was saying that, yeah.
Yeah, used to.
I'll tell you what they do at War Weekend as well. You know, Wakefield Mining Museum.
Yeah.
They do it there. They do it like in mid-July. And off to the side, they've got all tents set up, not only for the English, the Germans and everything. They're all in uniform and the lot.
Yeah, one village do it here near Bury and Rottenstall. They have a big weekend of it.
They're going to it in a really big way. Some of these people spend mega money on their cars and their uniforms and all this sort of stuff. It's a really big thing. Really
I must admit, I do love a lot to do with the Second World War and the First World War.
You know, I'll tell you what, you're at that war show and it's so patriotic because they do the Rule Britannia and Jerusalem and all those sort of songs. It's so patriotic, it really is. Really makes you really proud. Really good.
So, what are you vaping on?
So I'm on the Lost Vape Triad, which has been sat on my shelf for a while. I got it out this week to take to Bury with me. And on top of that, got the Fatality M25, which I filled up the night before I went to Bury. I re-wicked it on the Sunday afternoon. Left it on the worktop to take on the Monday morning. Came down on the Monday morning at 5 o'clock in the morning, pissed all over the place. The bod was full of liquid. The worktop was covered in liquid. So
the way you said that was like he pissed all over the place.
Oh God, a nightmare! It's never leaked on me before. And just that one night, the one day when I used to be off at crack of dawn in the morning, it was pissed all over the place.
I learned a wick one day.
Sod off. First time it's ever done it. And then in that I have Moorish Puff raspberry custard, which is really nice. I am also on the topside dual carbon with the Keith Alexander on top of that, which is my favourite RDA by a country mile. Flavour out of that is phenomenal. In there I have this one I got. What's it called? Baking tray raspberry Victoria sponge slice. Ooh. The only disappointing thing, it's only in like when you fill it, it's an 80ml bottle in total, so it's just a bit of a small bottle, and it wasn't particularly cheap either, but it's nice. It's nice. So that's in that. I'm also on this. This is something I vowed, and I don't know, just because of the stuff that I've gone through, Coily, and I know a lot of people, there's arguments both ways about it, but I always said I would never buy anything VP again, but I did end up buying something VP again because everybody was raving about how good this was, and I just wanted to get one to try it. So it's the Vupu Vinci AIO system, and it's a little, take the pod off thing. It's got a replaceable coil. It's just got a little coil. But it's similar to the Smock. Is it the RPM 40 or something? Yeah, that one. Very similar. Very similar. I looked at both, and the Smock one was a bit cheaper. But the only reason that I preferred this one was because you can actually see the liquid in the top of it. So whereas the Smock, the liquid actually drops inside. This you can actually see it above the level of the pod. But the flavour out of this, I think I've got a 0.6 in this. I've also had the 0.3, both mesh. So this is more mouth to lung, still fairly airy, even though it's mouth to lung, it's still fairly airy. But I think the other good thing with it is, if anybody's seen a review, you can see it. So see the airflow holes there. If you put there's like you can see it, but there's like big holes there. Put it on that way, you get real airy, or you can twist it 180 degrees and it goes tighter draw. So you adjust your airflow by switching the pod around. Yeah. But the battery life on it is phenomenal. I said the flavour on it, I'm on the 0.6 on that, but I've had the 0.3 mesh as well, and it's just absolutely fantastic. Flavour is so good. And I even had some in the 0.3 coil, the mesh coil. I had some Just Jam 80/20 going through that, not a problem. Wicked like an absolute tree. But in there I've just got some at the minute, because I'm on the mouth to lung, or the 0.6 coil. I've got my normal Elements Tangerine. And I also have, but I'm not vaping on it at the minute for a reason. I've got the Dead Rabbit with a Battle Cat on top of the Times Vape Dreamer. And the only reason I've not put it on is because I promised I wasn't going to. I've had Mark, Nature Vape Mark, sat there, sent me some cherry Bakewell liquid. Andy sent me a load more liquids last week that I vowed I wasn't going to try till Mark was on the show and I was on the show with Mark. So that's wicked and ready to put that liquid on it tonight. So
we're going to get a live testing, are we?
Yeah. It'd be a bit shit if I don't like it, innit?
My Bakewell's upstairs.
Yo, what?
It's upstairs. It's what have I got it in? I can't remember what I've got it in, but my Bakewell's upstairs. I was just looking for it. I didn't bring it down.
I love cherry Bakewell liquors.
Oh,
absolutely lovely. Yeah. So
it is really, really nice, that.
I've not tried this one. I've vaped. What's it called? The one I picked up from Expo last year. The cherry Bakewell one that I normally vape. So this is why I'm so keen to try this one. And it's been sat here, and I've just been so desperate.
The Vinto's nice as well.
Is it?
Yeah, I like the Vinto.
So,
You've got a sweet tooth, haven't you, Simon? So that's why I sent you the cherry Bakewell to start with. But then, I thought I might as well send them all to you so you can make your decision on all of them.
yeah.
So then, Mark, tell us what you're vaping.
What am I vaping on? Well, I've got probably the worst thing I've vaped on in weeks. As you can see, where's the camera there? Put the light on it. It's the Smock. What is it? Mag P3 kit with the biggest tank you ever did see. I mean, I held up before the show, but I'll show everyone here. If you look at that's the purity. That's the long tank. It gives you an idea of what the size is. So huge, but yeah, have a fun on that. Quite, isn't it? I've got my mango, peach and papaya in there, and it just makes it taste like a cheap orange squash. It's just not good. But anyway, so we'll move that away. But I thought I had it, so I thought I'd share it. I'm on the True Tank on the new Ambition Mods Stealth mod. Loving this little thing. It's one of those mods you don't want to. It's regulated at the bottom. You just don't want to. It's tactile. You don't want to take it out of your hand. It's lovely, like that.
I like that. It's nice.
It'll take, although the True Tank, as you probably know, is a 22mm tank. It'll take 23 as well. On there, 23mm. So that's that. I've just shown the Smock RPM, so I won't bore anyone with that. And the little Bantam, bullet box Bantam style.
Looks nice.
And I've got in that the Crossbow, which is a little mouth to lung set up inside. You probably can't see it that well. And I think that's about all I'm vaping on. I'm not vaping on loads tonight.
We all got to see that all in slow motion as well, people. It was. It's.
Was I in slow motion? Shall I do that and
You can do the robot, people. You can do the robot. Right, what am I vaping on? I am on the single top side with the new from Fatoon, the Acromaster RDA. Obviously, it just comes as a swank. There's a few things on this. Number one, my spring, when I tightened it up, my spring wouldn't tighten straight up, so I had to try and put a new one in, which was a little bit hard.
Yeah, it fell out on me.
Yeah.
Took me 2 days to get it back in.
It's hard, isn't it? It were a little bit hard. The other thing as well is, when you're trying to clip the top cap down, it's a little bit of a nightmare to get that click. Have you found it, Mark?
No, but I did just want to say, because I gave them such a hard time about it not having another pin, so you didn't have to use it as a bottom feeder, they have now done a pin for it, and they're sending me the pins. So,
wicked.
So, there you go.
The only other thing with it, Mark.
No, my click's in, all right.
The only other thing with it, and this is down to the Bobster. If you look at it, if we get it at camera, it's a German helmet.
It is a German helmet.
It's a German helmet.
Well, there you go.
Every time I look at it now, that's all I can see.
Shall we call it the Brexit RDA?
It's all right because Salford likes a German helmet, don't it?
As well, you know when you try to find that click down as well, sometimes it moves your cotton.
Terrible.
Yes, terrible. If you're you're right, Aidan. If you're sort of like 100, well, not even 180 degrees. If you're too far round, it does hit the coil or cotton. Yeah, or cotton.
It starts moving it. If you're not having the airflow like fully open, as well, I would have liked him to maybe just put a normal drip tip on it somehow instead of having, like you said, the helmet. Because when you do adjust it, you get that gap.
Yeah, you can. I did put a different drip tip on. It does actually look completely different, but it's typical Futoon, isn't it? It doesn't do anything in a normal, ordinary way.
But the flavour of it is absolutely corking.
Correct. Yeah.
Now they're saying that you can put mesh on this.
Yeah.
And I haven't tried it yet. I've not had a go at it yet. So I'm going to have a little try of that this week to see how it fits and how you actually fit it on. But the flavour from it's corking.
Yeah. I haven't put mesh in it either. And I've done my review. How bad's that?
Yeah, I'm gonna have a go. I'm gonna have a go at sticking the mesh on it and see how that works. What else am I on? I'm on the Sigelli Snowwolf N-Thing. That's what I'm gonna call it. A-Thing.
A-Thing, isn't it?
Absolute corking. AIO. All in one system. This is really, really good. The flavour from it is absolutely corking. And I've only had it a couple of days. And I'm loving the fact that you can change the battery in it. I do really like that. That's absolutely corking.
Just before you move on, because I nearly got that. When I was looking at this, I nearly got that. But then I was watching some reviews, and a lot of the reviews were saying that the door moves on it, and that would just drive me nuts.
I went to check it, but if you can see, mine doesn't move at all.
That was the only thing that put me off it.
Yeah, mine there's no jankiness to it. I really do like it. It's really, really good. And also the PAL Archery 2. It's one I just take around with me. I really do like that as well. It's one that I just stick in my pocket, charge it, stick a bit of high nicotine in it, and then you're all right all day. You're not overly vaping. So we've done the buffets, people. We've done the buffets, which is absolutely fantastic. We've all shown what we have to show. Now it's time to go home now, I think.
Bye.
That's it. All done.
So, Mr. Coyley, have you seen anything that's not absolutely loadly depressing in the news?
No, everything's depressing. I literally looked on the internet about 5 minutes before we came on because I just haven't had the time today to have a look at all. And the only thing that struck me when I was going through it was an article on the BBC News website, which is Vaping, I'm 17 and rarely ID'd for e-cigs. It says almost 40% of sellers touted by councils in England have been caught illegally allowing children to buy e-cigarette products, a report has found. 90 of the 227 premises tested sold vaping goods for underage teenagers in 2018 to 2019 data from 34 councils. Trading standards, which on part of the research has called for greater resources to enforce the law. Public Health England said vaping was 95% healthier than smoking. It's estimated 3.6 million people in the UK now use e-cigarettes. And then the next subtitle under that, which wound me up even more, liquid in my lungs. Georgia 17 told BBC Victoria's Derbyshire programme she had been to shops where she'd been given free e-cigarette tutorials and liquids. She's been vaping for over a year and rarely been asked for ID. As for proof of age, for the first time she tried to buy vaping products, she had been allowed to complete the purchase after telling the seller she had forgotten it, she said. The teenager now believes she has experienced negative health effects as a result of vaping. I went to hospital, they took my blood and they said there's too much liquid in my lungs, she said. They gave me some tablets for a course of 2 weeks and I'm still getting the pain today. And it goes on and on, shouting, trading stands and shit, blah, 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 blah.
Obviously, we've seen the stuff with Chris with his shop, with the Juul sort of thing, what were happening. Where he came in, the person that actually sent him was at a legal age to buy it. Do you think it might be the statistics from that, or where are they getting these? If they haven't got enough people on the footfall to go and check them, where are they getting them?
Well, I mean, it's saying that what did they say? That it's the The Chartered Trading Standards Institute for 2018-2019 Tobacco Control Survey showed the proportion of targeted sellers allowing children to buy vaping products has risen by 12 percentage points in a year from 28% to 40%.
It can only be a handful of experiences, surely. I mean, is it going to end up like if you have a vape shop, you go have a personal license, like you have if you run a pub? You know, someone maybe has to be accountable in the shop for serving underage people.
In a way, I actually think that'd work really well, because you've got, like, if you go to our bargain booths, which is close to us, they're selling liquids and nicotine as well on the shelf.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they're selling it to underage people, but it's obviously not their first line of business, is it?
Yeah.
The first line is alcohol, and then they've obviously gone down to a warehouse to pick these juices up, and the nicotine. Where if you had a licenses, these people who have actually got the bricks and mortar stores will obviously be more clued up. Do you think these are a little bit like these back sellers that are doing these sort of things?
I just wonder if they're coming out with things like that to prime the whole industry for having people accountable, like a personal license. Because if you think of your local co-op or spa or food bar, your convenience store that sells alcohol, someone in that shop has to be accountable for selling it underage, don't they?
Sorry.
So maybe they're going to tag vaping onto the same, almost like law, put it under the same bracket.
Just in chat, this is really interesting, this. Shane Gibson, I've just been for a meeting today and been told if I keep vaping, I'm in danger of having my son taken into care as it's more unsafe than smoking.
Jesus.
You told him that?
Really?
That is terrible. And I would imagine that's come from a social worker or...
That is horrendous. Absolutely horrendous.
The other interesting line, just off the back of what you said, Aidan, just underneath that, discount shops had had the second most illegal sales, 11, while 8 were reported at market and car boot sales.
Car boot sales, yeah.
So they're not saying actual brick and mortar stores, are they? There really, they're saying everywhere else.
So you can get it. Discount shops are the second most, and. Yeah. Then markets and car boot sales.
See, obviously, car boot sales and markets, there's nothing. People walk around. They're selling dodgy DVDs and everything else, aren't they?
Yeah, of course they are.
Bill's made the point as well. Yeah, he's right. There has to be a license holder for shops selling alcohol, and there does. And all it means is someone who works for that shop or owns a shop is accountable if one of their members of staff serves alcohol to a minor or under 18. So I just wonder if that is going to be implemented in vaping as well.
See, it's quite interesting. Obviously, you've obviously run a website. That's how your shop runs.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, when you click on it, you click on, and if you got to say that you're 18. Now, how does your shipping? Now, in America, they have to also then put a picture of their ID.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't have to do that in the UK. How do you sort of sieve out whether you're selling them to underage people or
the odd random check, I think. But I agree. It's not foolproof, is it? And I have had this discussion with trading standards, and my argument was when I buy alcohol from Tesco's, at no point am I age checked when they deliver it online. So they deliver my shopping, and he said, but there is someone from Tesco's who's employed by Tesco's who wouldn't hand over that wine to a minor for your weekly shop, online shopping. But then I raised the point of, okay, well, let's take Aldi then. So I buy wine from Aldi. I like Aldi's wine, and Yodel deliver that. So Yodel don't work for Aldi. So how are Aldi doing it with alcohol?
I'm not quite sure. I know that Amazon, I don't know if a lot of you now have had it with Amazon, where if you order something vaping, you have got to show identification that you are of age.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's a coil or whatever, you have to sign for it.
With Amazon,
your ID.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a section on here as well, buying online. It says e-cigarette products can also be purchased online, and the Victoria Derbyshire programme has spoken to several parents whose children have bought products while underage. One mother whose 13-year-old son bought them on eBay said it had been scarily easy for him to do so. She said she felt frustration and anger towards the retailer because there had not been any age verification checks. We think there were probably terms and conditions he was signing up to when he opened his eBay account, but probably just a tick box, nothing more than that, she added. An eBay representative said its sellers are required to have an effective age verification process to prevent the sale of e-cigarettes to minors.
But what's a 13-year-old doing with a credit card or debit card?
Yeah.
Or pay. What's the age limit on PayPal?
Well, I think you've got to be over a certain age with PayPal, I think. So obviously, not only has the minor created an offence itself by doing it, I think the parents should be held accountable for not checking what your child's doing.
Mm. Yeah, there you go.
Is there anything more that you think that could be done, or how could you do it as an online shop, Mark?
I think in America, what they do, is it America or Canada? One of them, that they have to do an age verification process online. So they hold up their passport or driving license in front of the webcam or whatever to prove that they're of an age. But even that isn't foolproof. And I don't mind something like that. I've got no problem with it. But as long as it's a level playing field and everybody has to do it. It's when they single out, whether it be me or any other individual company, and make him do something, and no one else has to. That's not fair. That's giving that dealer or seller an unfair disadvantage, isn't it? In a way, a little bit like I was hauled over the coals and had to remove all my subida from the site because PayPal spotted it and said until you've removed it, your account is closed. Well,
I'm frozen. They keep your money as well, don't they?
Yeah, well, that's fine, but I can go online now and find you loads that are selling it using PayPal as a merchant.
It wasn't just you. I know obviously the Juice Cabin, Les, he had a massive problem with that because he started to sell the like the paraphernalia as well with it. Now, if you go on, like you said yourself, if you go on to eBay, you can find loads of them, but they then froze his account.
Yeah, they froze mine as well. Yeah, until it was resolved.
So the crazy... Oops, sorry, Karen.
Oh, go on, mate.
No, I was just going to go back to the age verification thing. You think about it, the technology is there technology should be there to do it because everybody has a national insurance number. For your national insurance number, you could have a centralised database where when you register with a site, most people, I mean, I know mine off by heart, but most people know how to get it off the payslip or whatever. When you register for one of these sites, you can put your national insurance number in, and if the government provided a database for you to check that, you sort it, don't you? But one of those things that they'll never.
I think with the way things are going with the online sort of things, I think that there should be a program that you could sort of like you said there, or PayPal do it as a. But if they're using the parents now, if it comes to the point that just say somebody buys off your site, Mark.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they are underage. Do you think the child should actually get reprimanded for it?
Yeah, I think a certain amount of control lies at home, doesn't it? Because like this 13-year-old buying off eBay, why was he allowed to buy off eBay and use a debit, credit card or PayPal account? Why? Why does that happen? Surely, when I was 13, I couldn't buy anything. I wasn't allowed. Or I had to ask my parents, can I have a tenner for whatever, and then I was given it. But I know times have changed and, things move on. But at the same time, surely that parent should have been just as angry with the child for using their debit card, credit card details to make a purchase online. Where does that stop?
Rainbow just said that when he was a teen, it was so easy getting hold of cigarettes, alcohol, weed, you name it, you could get it. I think many forget for a teen to get hold of cigarettes, etc., all they needed to do was ask around. I do totally believe that when you were a kid, you could get beer when you wanted it, and you could get bits and bobs. by getting other people to get it for you. Obviously, with this online sort of thing, it's now got to the point where you've got to now, instead of the parents going online, my child bought an e-cigarette. Would you say the same thing if he went on there and bought something, like you said, alcohol, a sex toy or something like that? What they're not allowed to buy?
We all bought alcohol and before we were 18, didn't we? I know I did.
Well, when we was young, Mark, we didn't have half the trouble kids had later on, did they? We used to be able to go in the shop and buy cigarettes and buy alcohol because they just thought it was for your parent.
Yeah,
you wouldn't ask, you just went in and did it.
Your mum used to send you down to the shop, didn't they, and say, look, there's a note. Can you give our Aidan 20 Berkeley? And they would. You'd go back home, wouldn't you? But kids are going to get hold of these things. But they're talking about, especially what you were talking there about, Simon, with the market stalls. I know you've got a man in a van. I know he goes around local in our area and stuff like that. That is where you can see where people are selling dodgy DVDs and stuff. They're not going to be checking ages, are they? They just want the sale.
Yeah, exactly. I know there is some legitimate. One of our local shops, he goes to a market stall every week or every couple of weeks, something like that, or car boots. But he's a legitimate seller, so they're not all bad. But I would expect there is some there that are just there to make a quick buck. Plus, you're going to get the ones that are selling their dodgy homemade juice, I'm sure, out the back of a van as well.
So,
Ian Morgan's made a good point there. Should make a fingerprint ID to complete the purchase on PayPal. That's a good idea, isn't it?
Yeah, but just I was going to mention before, I didn't realise. I was looking the other day because somebody asked me if I think I was wanting to get somebody to get some money out of the cash machine for me. I can't remember whether it's the law or whether it's just a bank that says so. But you are not allowed to. Excuse you. You are not allowed to give somebody else your card to perform a transaction on your behalf, whether it be to draw money out of a cash machine or whether you go and pay for something on chip and pin or whether you're using the contactless. You are not allowed to give somebody else your card to pay.
Yeah, you're not supposed to.
You're not allowed. It's. I think it's either. I don't think it's the law. I think it's actually in the bank's terms and conditions. You cannot do that, or your account will be closed. It's classed as some sort of fraudulent.
I still get me. Obviously, we've got a joint account. We swap cards. Whose card? You have to remember whose pin you're using.
Yeah.
Even my daughter goes to the shop and takes the money out. Just getting back onto this about Jay Jerry's great point. Bad parents, bad sellers create a whole problem. Going back to what Mark was saying to Salford, like they were saying there about getting a license. Now, do you think they should sort of start taking it away? That such as like a bargain booth shouldn't sell juice, coils, and nicotine. Do you think they should just leave it to these bricks and mortar stores?
I don't think so, and the reason I don't think so is that you can obviously buy cigarettes in an off license or whatever, and you sort of restricting. Why would you restrict vaping products when you're not restricting tobacco products?
Yeah.
You make it sort of feels to me like you're making a point that vaping is worse than smoking if you're restricting the sales of vaping products in a shop but not tobacco.
No, obviously for years and years people have sold tobacco and cigarettes in where alcohol, like a convenience store sort of side of it. But do you think if they could actually regulate it and say, well, look, we know it's definitely going in one place and this is where you've got to buy it, do you think that would be better?
I don't think so. I'm all for some sort of license. Do you have to have a license to sell cigarettes? I'm assuming you do.
No.
You don't.
You did
for tobacco.
No, I thought it was just for alcohol. If anybody in chat can have a little look up on that.
Yeah. Well, they do with alcohol because I had a pub for a little while and I had to pass this personal license thing, which in itself was a bit of a joke. And it lasted 10 years, and it wasn't hard to pass, to be quite honest. But the main point of that license was it made you responsible while that pub was open. Even if you were out the back having your tea while a member of staff was running the bar, if he served someone underage, you were responsible because they're working for you. It's more a case of that. But
obviously I've run pubs. I had a personal license. It's all right. It's not massively. My wife had one as well. It's not massively hard to pass.
No.
But I don't think you have to for cigarettes. I don't think.
Well, I know when they've been in the shops, so the kiosks, within the shops themselves that sell cigarettes and what have you. I know that people have been done. The actual person, the assistant serving, has been fined, as well as the company for selling to underage. So I'm sure there's some sort of law about selling
Bill
tobacco.
Richard says you did have to have a tobacco license, but it went in the 80s.
Yeah, it says, right.
Is a little bit of a again. I was looking on the news, same as what Simon for tonight's show. This is from the sources Euromonitor International. This is for the BBC. Top 10 markets for vaping products. Obviously, you've got the US. Then you've got the United Kingdom, France, Germany, China, Canada, Poland, Italy, and Russia. And then it says about let me find it. New stores opening. And again, this is local data company from fashion retailers. This is in the UK between January and June of 2019. Fashion retailers, 144 shops opened. Charity shops was 101. Then you had food to go, which is obviously takeaway, 76. Another set of takeaways, 76. Well, food to go must be a different type of shop. There must be like a where you sit in. And then pubs and bars was 71. And then vaping and tobacco shops. I don't know why they've linked this to vaping and tobacco shops. It should be just vaping shops. Which was 69 shops open in that period.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got convenience stores, health and sports, restaurants, and employment agencies. So that was 1, 2, 4 down.
Back to dinner for two. Yes.
Yes, yeah. It's a mouthful to say, isn't it? It was saying, who are the people who vape? 33% of adults vape to stop smoking. 11.5% ex-smokers who now vape. 10% was 11 to 18-year-olds who have tried vaping at least once. 41 million vapers globally, and 7 countries have banned vaping totally. So obviously here in the UK, the vaping shops are popping up, aren't they?
They are popping up, but I mean, well, I think you'll all remember this. We're all of an age. I mean, there's some older than others, aren't there? Age. We had vending machines that you could go and put your
We had them at the side of the road as well. Do you remember them outside the paper shops?
Yeah.
At the side of the road, and they used to sell like five part drive or 5 woodbine in them.
Yeah, that's
and whatever, you were in shillings.
So if you had the money, now 10 and go and get your fags. It wasn't a problem, was it?
I'm sure a lot of you remember you used to get them in the pub as well, but they'd only sell you, I think, around 18, wasn't it? They were only allowed to sell 18.
Yeah.
Then
it went down to 16. But then I think if you bought Royals, for some reason, Royals, you could actually get an extra couple out of it. They sold 19 instead of 18. I don't know why, but...
Yeah, because Royals, when you bought them in a shop, they were 24s, weren't they, Royals?
24, yeah, Royals. Royal Red and Royal Blue.
Yeah.
Some shops used to split them up as well, didn't they? You could buy 2 fags and things like that. And
I used to. Our little sweet shop, you used to be able to go there and buy 1 cigarette. And I think, this is showing how old I was. It was a penny a cigarette when I went to buy cigarettes. So
obviously, in the US, Night Owl saying if you don't have a license, but if you're caught selling to someone underage, it's a $5,000 fine. Originally, Royals came in 25s. Bill Richards saying. I think the top and bottom of this is, especially what's going off with the US. I know we're not trying to bang on about it, but if they're trying to clamp down on vaping, why aren't they clamping down on the smoking?
Yeah,
you think that would be the same thing, wouldn't you? You think they'd just say, right, well, you can't have cigarettes.
They won't do that, will they? Because that's a tax revenue for them.
So that's what they want. Why aren't they clamping down on like the dark web? You could buy a hell of a lot worse on there.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't know, Matt.
Well, you see some stuff that I've never been on the dark web. I've got enough trouble with my computer anyway, so I don't go on that. I'd probably have some Russian trying to do stuff to me, and not in a nice way.
The people they seem to go for in all these areas are the easy targets. They're not going for the real root of the problem, are they? I don't think they are. Yeah, to me, it's, a lot of law is common sense. So it starts, I believe, with the parents. The parents should run a tight ship at home. I'm not saying, be strict and beat your kids, but I'm saying that you should know what your kids are up to.
Is he eating a packet of crisps, him, or what?
I'm going through all these liquids at Mark's and we're trying to work out, trying to find the cherry bear claw.
We'll tip them all out.
He's looking for his passwords to the dark web.
That's like, what do they call it? Mike Mex, I do Sabs with it. Somebody asked him to do it. Is it where they crackle things into Mike and then talk really quiet? Jesus.
He's a noisy bugger, isn't he?
He is.
Right.
Should see him eat.
Anyway.
Yeah, the writing's quite small, isn't it? They're the sample.
It is, yeah, and even glasses.
Yeah.
ASMR, that's it. That's the one. It's a bit weird, that, really, in my own mind, but... Yeah, they're going for soft targets and they're hitting vaping. That's what they're basically doing. But it's not helping if you're getting unregulated people selling it in the shops. Like as a second-hand thought of, instead of they're selling alcohol and tobacco, and then they'll think, oh, sorry, we'll stick some vaping products up there. And somebody turns up and goes, oh, I'll have 2 bottles of that and so much nicotine. And then they give it to the kids outside. It's not, or the kids that are there.
Well, that's happened for years. How many kids do you see hanging about the shop saying, can you go in and get me cigs or can you go in and get me alcohol?
Yeah.
It's happened for years.
I must admit, a kid did it to me the other day. He said, can you go and get me 10 Richmond so I come out with a set of sausages? He wasn't happy.
They're never there. They're never there when you get them. What they ask for.
Sat there trying to lick one of my links. Oh, no. Can I go 2s on your sausage?
We'll sack on that. You'll be all right.
You get done for that, Mark. You'll get done for that, but we'll leave that around.
Going back to the German helmet again.
Where is it? It's over there. So, obviously, we've talked about the fact of I think it needs regulating a little bit more. When the TPD all started coming in, we did millions of shows about it, and obviously we all didn't know what was going to happen. But was one thing that was totally said, Vic said it all, and all the lads who were on the shows, was that how the hell is Trading Standards going to be able to keep up looking at all these vape shops when they can hardly look after the booze shops that are selling bootleg vodka and things like that? How are they going to keep up with it?
They're understaffed, aren't they? They haven't got enough people to enforce anything. It takes them years to get out to do something anyway. I've got that down the road from me, where all the wholesalers are. I mean, you go there and you can buy 20 Adidas T-shirts. Not one of them are actually Adidas,
No.
But they're charging the same prices because it's nearly all fake. I mean, been on programs I don't know how many times when they're a bit down the bottom of the wholesalers near me, for fake gear. How are they going to enforce it? They can't enforce that. How are they going to enforce this? They ain't got enough staff.
Well, you think you can go on eBay and you can buy all the football kits now for about 12 quid. They're all coming from Malaysia.
Yeah.
Well, that's not being policed that well, is it? And I have that argument as well, that when someone, and I don't blame customers for doing this, don't get me wrong on this point, but if someone buys that from Fast Tech, then there's no import duty, there's no one's paying income tax, no one's paying VAT, no one's putting any coffers in the pot. Yes, for the guy who's ordered it, it's cheap as chips and it's lovely, he's had a bargain. But where's the regulation going to be on that? Surely that same 13-year-old could go on Fast Tech and order off there.
The regulation on that is on the cost that they actually put on the label. If the label says the actual cost, then you get the import duty you have to pay. But the places like Fast Tech don't. They put it as low as possible so it comes under. That's how they get around it.
Yeah.
They also put, obviously being a reviewer, you probably had the same, Salford. When it's coming over from China, I've had it where it says that I've had books, old engine parts.
Well,
I've had all sorts, so we don't have to pay the import.
From Fast Tech, I've actually had what was in there, but not the actual cost. Because if they put the actual cost, then you have to pay the import duty on it and the handling charge and what have you. I've not had it said that it's anything else other than what it was. But that's how they do it. They put the value on it of, I think it did go down to £15 before you get it with import duty.
I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, so they put it under that because when it first happened, I got it because I do get some stuff from Fastech. That's why I review for them as well. I got it for a tank that was only £18 anyway, and it come over, but it was £3 over that. So I got charged the import duty on it, which was next to nothing. But the handling charge by Royal Mail, because that's who do it, was about £8.60 odd.
£15 including delivery.
Just to pick it out.
Yeah. But I mean, that's rare, to be fair, David. That you got...
Well, no, because since we had this trade war between the USA and China, and the USA made it more stricter there. They've made it more stricter here, and that's why China themselves have now got a centralised customs part where they send out to the world. So it has become more difficult throughout the world when it comes to customs.
Should be cheaper now if they ship it out via Hong Kong. It's got slight smoke damage. $2 metal tube.
Yeah. Be able to float it out at a minute.
And I keep going back to stuff because I'm sort of trying to get a word in edgeways. But the regulation stuff in the UK, I know we all whinged about TPD, TRPO when it came out, but then has that not benefited us now compared to what they're going through in America? If we hadn't had regulation, do you think we might have been in the same state that we are now? The same state that the US are now.
We could well be, couldn't we? Especially with all these scare stories coming out of the States. If we haven't been regulated now. I mean, we've already seen stories here on the news and in the paper. People going on about, oh, it's killing people and all that lot, and we need more regulation here. If we hadn't had any, I think we would have been hit by the same boat, like India was, like Australia has been, like Israel has been. Because it's been the house of cards, hasn't it, since America started?
Yeah.
It's bounced everywhere over the world. And in Europe, I think, if we would have had the TPD, we would have been in the same boat.
I think it was, like I said, we bitched and whinged about it when it first came out, but then I think it's been a good thing. It's turned out to be a good thing that we do it.
Yeah. It's like the 2 mil capacity bit. I think a lot of that's like been relaxed. I think you especially with viewing samples that you get, but a lot of other places now selling bubble glasses and
Don't know what you're talking
about. There are a certain few vendors that you can go to that you will get the bubble glass and things like that from, which is really good. There's a certain few. Not. Sorry, I wasn't referring to anybody in particular, but there are a few. No, I wasn't. There are a few. There are a few that you can go and there's a few that you will only get the 2 mil glass.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to come to the stage where we were going to have, as a vendor, we were going to have to say that it comes with a tank stand that you and that's the bubble glass, but it never came to that. Did it?
I'm waiting to find out if I've actually ordered some 5 mil things for this. But I'm waiting to find out if somebody thinks that you can get there is like a bung or a silicon stopper in the top of that, but it's like a sealed unit. But I'm waiting for somebody to tell me how I can get rid of that.
Well, they all do it. That's got a silicon bung in it to reduce it to 2 mil from 3 mil.
Well, they do that with the PAL.
Somebody will show you.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You worked out a way to get that. Somebody was saying that you can do that as well. You can do the PAL. You can modify the PAL to get it to 5 mil.
I will look at it's not 5 mil, it's 3 mil, the actual pod.
Yeah.
But,
you can do it with the knob, can't you?
Yeah, it's 3.
If you take the coil out and use a screw down the side, it's only silicone bunger along the top. You can screw into it and pull it up and pull it through that hole.
Isn't it stupid you've got to do things like that, though? Don't you think?
Well, I think that's one of the things we want to change when we eventually come out of Europe, if we ever do. But that's going to be years down the line, isn't it? I mean, Germany didn't even adopt the 2 mil at all.
No.
Yeah, but the same thing. What's the scientific reason for it? What is the scientific reason?
There isn't. It was based on 2008 and it was based on the little cartomizers and the CE cartridges we had, which then was what 1.7 mils.
Yeah, and you got to think what we wasn't vaping so high VG then, was it?
No, and it was based on that. It was based nearly 10 years behind, a bit like the States had done with the deeming regulations. They looked at data from 2008, the same as the TPD did, and things are completely different. Different.
Yeah.
It is massively funny though that we're just obviously now coming into, well, how many months has it been out? This all about the vaping kills and all that. I think we're a couple of months into it, 3 months into it. It's all strange that nothing ever happened before, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody's seen that lady who came out. She was giving evidence about vaping, and she says, "I've had it myself. I walked past somebody who was vaping and got second-hand vaping, and I got pneumonia."
That's right.
No, absolute rubbish. But there's all that rubbish is bound to come out, innit? And if you notice, if you've watched any of the American things that are going on at the moment, they've all regurgitated the same old crap they've been doing since 2015, and they just regurgitate it. I mean, these experts, there's diacetyl in it.
Oh yeah, that's ace.
Where are you getting your data from these days? Even over there, I mean, that's regulated. So just regurgitate, save the kids, and it's all the crap. It really is.
That diacetyl, somebody brought it out to me the other day. Some bloke who probably don't even know what diacetyl is. And he said to me,
was he smoking at the time as well?
Yeah, he just come back out. He just literally walked back in from having a fag. And he says, what about that diacetyl? I says, well, do you know what it's all about? I says, it's not in e-liquid anymore, but the amount that was in e-liquid, there's nothing that's going to harm you at all.
You should have told him how much diacetyl he just took in by a cigarette. Because it ranges from 400 to 700 times more than any vapor had.
And also, not only that, how much carbon monoxide has he just took?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, this is the sort of stuff that's regurgitated in the States, isn't it? All the stuff that's been debunked has been regurgitated.
Simon, you need a fan or to focus your camera.
Oh, he's waving to me now. Hello.
Oh, Simon, swearing on the show.
In fact, Simon, I've changed that. Oh,
that's better.
He's gone. Yeah, that was an improvement. I changed that because you're not worth the other one. Sit and swivel.
LC90 said, "See, I had two old ladies speaking about me vaping, saying that all the shit you hear on the news, how they are very dangerous. Had two to bite my tongue with them. Yeah, that's what you're gonna get. That's what they want. Nice to eat, my baby. That's what you're getting. It's they won't be saying it for no reason."
I had it last year, didn't I, when that bloke in his 80s come up to me with a cig hanging out of his gob, telling me that I was killing myself. And then when he was losing the argument while I was trying to educate him, he went, "And you shouldn't have a dog in the flats."
Simon had it as well, didn't you? You went somewhere and you had an argument with him, didn't you?
It was customer service. It wasn't. My wife was out last year, and some bloke was coming outside telling me how bad it was for me. Like the same thing, sat smoking away one after another, chain smoking, telling me how bad vaping was for me. Oh, it winds me up in a big way.
The only reason that happens is because of all the misinformation, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's been constant. The misinformation has been constant for years now.
But the problem is that everything is driven off drama, isn't it? And that dramatic news is what makes the headlines. And
clickbait.
Exactly.
Anything to sell papers and advertising.
Yeah.
But it's us that obviously a lot of the people who are watching now, you are all the converted. Yeah. And our problem is not being able to get out there very much to convert the other ones and say, look, hold a minute, I'm not sitting down here dying. I'll tell you what, I don't have, as I'm coughing, I had a cough, I think it was a week or so ago, a couple of weeks back, and it's the first one I've had all year. And I just picked it up. I used to get colds all the time, I was coughing all the time. because I've said it, I'm doing it. And then you used to obviously get that black, horrible tar stuff that you were spitting out. I know it's horrible to say, but when I was coughing up phlegm, it was clear phlegm. It was what you'd normally have.
Yeah.
I don't have anything respiratory. My asthma has gone. I don't use my inhaler at all anymore.
Yeah.
So there's got to be some sort of... Obviously, I've been vaping God knows how many years. 2006 I first ever started. And you've got to think, I've never had any pneumonia. I've never had it. And I vape probably more than anybody else normally vapes because you're reviewing. You're constantly doing this stuff. So... And you've got to think how many reviewers are now in the UK.
I had pneumonia before I started vaping. While I was smoking, I had it, and yeah, it's not pleasant. It's horrible. You know, I thought it was a goner.
Yeah,
but you know, it's rare. But that's partly why I got onto vaping. I tried the Champix first, which I just wanted to kill anyone I walked in front of. Horrendous stuff. Never ever. How a doctor can prescribe that mental pill, I'll never know. You know that's what should be banned.
You know what? You know what gets me with it all, just lately, is the nicotine and brain cells and the developing brain. Well, I'm sorry, but Nikola Tesla smoked. Albert Einstein smoked. You know, they all had nicotine.
Yeah.
You know, from a very early age. I don't think that works like that either. When they know for a fact it absolutely helps you concentrate more. But they're coming out with this bullshit about the developing brains getting killed off and what have you.
You ain't got round fingers anymore either, have you, Aiden?
No poo fingers.
You don't look like you've had an inner body experience from Aldi toilet paper, do you?
You go straight through. That's what you get. Yeah, there's no poo finger, and you don't stink either. You don't come home and you absolutely reek.
Yeah.
Well, going back to that, but if Bob's still in chat, Bob's been for his COPD checkup today, and come out a lot better. Now, I haven't told them that he vapes, yet he's got a massive improvement. Yeah, they're saying, you know, if you're vaping, you've got COPD or asthma and whatever, it's really bad for you. And that's what they're trying to say in America now, as well, isn't it? If you've got any of these underlying conditions, you shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, Dr. Bill Richards.
Salford, what's your excuse for brain cells?
Ooh, harsh.
Ooh.
We had this discussion before.
He's got 2 degrees and you haven't.
You asked me where the third one was.
That were good at that. He says, "What do you do? Keep the other 3rd degree in the basement." Yeah, that were good.
In other news, Brexit no deal tonight. UK government source says.
That's
just to cheer things up.
Big headline as well, isn't it? If you read through that, it doesn't actually mean that, does it?
I don't know.
I think you'll find. I think everybody's ready now for it just to stop and get on with it. I think.
That was a bizarre thing, wasn't it? I read the other night that he's got to send this letter and ask for a postponement again if he hasn't had a deal by such a time. But apparently, EU were the ones that granted us that extension, and EU law carries more weight than UK law. So,
yeah, but even on the EU statute book, there was no provision for that. They actually made that provision after they made the decision. It was never on the statute book here, so it was never law, and it was never on the statute book for Europe, so it was never law. They made that provision after they made the decision to extend it. We should have been out with no deal way ago.
Yeah, when it first was said.
Yeah. They changed. Right, they don't want us to go out. They don't want us to go out, and there's plenty here don't want to go out. But we voted out, right? And that should have stuck right from the start. That was law. They broke the law by staying on and having this extension in the first place. They didn't do the will of the people, which is what we employ them to do.
Yeah, whether you're a Remainer or whether you're an Exeter, it should give you a big look at how the government are doing it. It's like now he's gone to try and get a deal, but because he's got a deal, they don't want to do that either. How can you go to court? I can't see how the courts have got involved trying to block what the people have said.
But my point is, because that was the European law, which carries more weight than our law, I think, when he kept saying, we will be out by the 31st of October, and I will not break the law, that apparently was how he was going to go about it. In other words, sort of write the letter and ask for the extension, and then so he's kept within the law, and then and then say that we didn't mean it, and their law supersedes that anyway.
Yeah, so you're old enough to remember, like I did. These directives was just that, a directive, and then a government in any country could adopt that into law. They didn't have to. Now you have to. You always say you have to have so many parts of this in your law. You have to pass it into law. So it was just a big communist state. That's all they want.
Yeah.
That's what they're after in Europe. Just centralised control of a massive communist state.
You started this, Simon. Your fault.
I know.
We've got the wonderful Chris Grimes there, makes absolute fantastic coils. Do get over and check him out. He's an absolute corking bloke as well. I totally agree with you. It's one of them situations where you just want to get on with it. I don't think the decision will change. I think it'll be voted tomorrow. I think it'll be maybe even more vote out, to be honest with you. Just saying it, Harry Rudge, I said to my doctor, I've started vaping. He said, that's dangerous. I said, okay, I will go back to smoking 60 cigarettes a day. He had no answer to that. I think this is a lot of it. People need to look at that it's 95% safer than smoking.
But his doctor by now shouldn't be saying that to him. I've spoke about this before. It's now 2.5 years ago that they said they was going to educate doctors and nurses about vaping and the benefits of vaping, and that still hasn't happened. If his doctor's saying that to him now, it still hasn't happened.
No.
You know, that is ridiculous.
And this is what I've said. I've kept saying there needs to be a consistent message across every health department, whether it be dentists, doctors, nurses, pharmacists, whatever. There needs to be one consistent message that everybody, uses, and that's the thing that's missing.
Yeah.
Because every individual seems to have their own personal opinion on it, and it's that personal opinion that's getting communicated rather than facts and figures.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's the same with nicotine, isn't it? It was printed on packets so often that people think that's a carcinogen, when it's not.
No. There's thousands of other chemicals.
There was that letter that was doing the rounds on Facebook, wasn't there? Was it an email or something that was saying some marketing agency or something like that, wasn't it? Being told to make vaping look as bad as possible. I didn't get a lot of time to read it in depth, but it was an email trail of somebody basically saying, make it look as bad as you can, put pictures of children vaping and sort of liquid in lungs and things like that. The other thing that got to me was I was reading a lot of things. There was something about some guy in Newcastle that died. Was it 10 years ago from they believe from vaping now?
Yeah.
But they found all this.
Pneumonia.
Yeah, they found all this oil in his lungs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw the woman.
Yeah, but when you
What
read
oil?
when you read
mechanic, Simon.
Yeah.
When you read on about it, it was a glass blower actually, wasn't it? When you read on about it, he actually said he'd done a little bit of mixing stuff together as well. So what's he mixed in with it?
But oil, what? It drives me nuts when I'm in a vape shop and someone says, "Can I buy some oil, please?"
I know, yeah. But you see, that goes back a long time as well, because on some of the juice bottles from China, it used to say oil on the actual label.
Yeah, that was an import thing, because in the early days when I was buying Chinese e-liquid, and it was coming over as like essential oils, because they didn't know how to get it across through customs.
Yeah, but as that guy actually put, this is what I'm going back to, as that guy actually put something like an essential oil in his vape.
Yeah.
Also,
because it was all labelled up oil originally.
Also, you got to look at, like these people that over in America, and they were vaping. They weren't touching any of them THC pods. They weren't doing any of that. They weren't vape. They were vaping. Right, they actually know, but people probably didn't want to tell that they was actually using that sort of.
Exactly.
Well, come on. This is another thing that gets me. You go in with something like that. What do they do right away? They take your blood. They have urine tests. They have all the rest. No urine tests, no blood tests. In the States. What?
They've done a lot of biopsies now, and then they've found that every single one, without exception, had THC, didn't they?
Yeah.
They're not going to tell the loved ones that they're doing it.
It goes back to what I said. I think it was last week. If you're a kid and it's happened to you, you're not going to admit in front of your parents what you've been vaping, are you? You're going to say, no, it was just a normal stuff. Oh no, I had THC. You're not going to do that in front of your parents.
Let's tell me about
But this is a crazy thing, isn't it? Are they so thick that they don't realise, or worse still, do they think we're so thick that we don't get it?
The second part, they think the general public are thick. We all should be sheep and listen to what Big Brother's saying and you know, watch for them screens everywhere, not fucking microphones and everything. Yeah, they want us to believe what they're saying is only true, and they think that the populace of any country is stupid enough to believe them, or at least 90% of them are.
But we're not.
Yeah.
No.
Well, people, we are over our hour. Thank you very much to Mark from Nature Vapes for coming on as a guest. It's been an absolute pleasure, brother. Thank you very much to my wonderful co-host. It has been another wonderful... Do you know what? We're just leaving now and the wonderful MBK's turned up. Congratulations on all the weight loss as well you've done, mate.
Yeah,
please go and check him out. He's lost some right weight. He's doing really well. Congratulations, bro. We will be on next week before the Expo. We will be doing an Expo special, and we'll be doing a bit of a giggle about it, and we'll tell you your actual essentials that you need to go and take. We'll also tell you all about the hacks. We've also got tickets still available, so if anybody hasn't got any tickets and you want some tickets, we've got plenty of codes. Please just message us on our 3 Men and a Vape Show Facebook site, and we will get you the tickets out to you straight away. We're going to say our goodbyes, and we'll start straight off with the wonderful Salford.
Bye. Now, guys, without you in chat, obviously we don't have a show, and it's been a bit interesting because we've been speaking about a few things tonight, haven't we? All because of Simon. Again, on the one appearance he makes. No, guys, thank you very much for coming and watching this thing. Massive thank you for Mark for coming on to the show again today.
You're welcome.
Even though you only come on for Simon, and Simon's been calling me all the time.
Cherry bagel, but you haven't mentioned it.
I know, it's terrible.
I
He's been baking it.
It was really nice. It is really nice, and once I got rid of the taste of Durolet off my Mac, it's really, really nice. But highly recommended.
Durex what?
That's that German helmet again.
Durolet.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you very much. Over
to the wonderful Mr. Coyley.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed. It's good to be back after 3-4 weeks. How long it's been? I've missed being on here. I've missed Salford, sort of, missed Aiden, and Mark. I've been trying to talk to Mark for the last 3 weeks. I think he rang me up about 3 weeks ago, and I said I'll ring you back in 5 minutes, and I'm still not ringing back yet. Yeah. So my sincere apologies for that. So at least I've seen you face to face. But yeah, thank you to everybody in chat. Thank you to the spinners. Thank you to, I was going to say wonderful Salford, but thank you to Salford and the wonderful Aiden. Thank you for Mark coming on as a guest. Aiden, you can now go back to your 3 degrees and your German helmet.
There's nothing wrong with 3 degrees and a German helmet, but believe me, it's the only way to keep it warm when you're in the frostbite.
Very true.
Mr. Wonderful Mark from Nature Vapes, please get over and check his website out. He's got some wonderful deals. He's a wonderful supporter of us as well, so make sure you check him out. Mark, say your goodbyes.
Yeah, I'll say my goodbye. I was just reading a comment there about, was it 4 frames a second? So I practically ought to say goodbye like that, didn't I, really? But that's that. It is what it is. These things happen, but hopefully you can hear me okay.
Yeah, perfect.
Thanks to everyone in chat, as always, and thanks for all your continued support from everyone, those in chat and on the show. Thank you, and thanks for having me.
Salford, before we go, we need your quote of the week. I will play it.
Oh, it's Salford's quote of the week.
The secret of having all is believing you already do.
The secret of what?
Having all,
Having all.
yeah, is the belief that you already do.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that itself was quote of the week. Absolutely fantastic as well. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much to all the spanners in chat. You have looked after us very, very well. Everybody who in chat, you support us so much. Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you to all my co-hosts and the special guest, Mark from Nature Vapes. We will see you next week. Same channel, same bat time. And now I've got to do the outro. Good night,
Bye.
Don't forget to check out my latest video. Also, don't forget to check out 3 Men and a Vape Show live at 8 PM every Wednesday. And also, if you've enjoyed the video, make sure you subscribe, ring that notification bell, and we'll catch you later.
Again.